All right, my friends, welcome to the Dr. Sem Yankees show and the Start Spreading the News podcast. We have been irregular these last couple of weeks or months because of the fact, as many of you know, that I'm filling in as a principal in my retirement, and there just hasn't been a whole lot of time for me to be doing podcasts, as I also have been teaching 2 college classes and bringing a couple of books to the finish line. A reminder that this program is brought to you by Artemisia Publishing. Artemisia Publishing can be found online at apbooks.net. Artemisia has a ginormous selection of award-winning books, including many by me, the least among them, Roy White's From Compton to the Bronx, 365.2, the greatest novel ever written. If you have not read Scattering the Ashes, your life is incomplete. And of course, as everyone knows, one of those books that I was bringing to completion, The Greatest New York Yankees by Uniform Number, which is coming out in February. We are putting the last and final finishing touches on that book. It's already receiving some great feedback from the people who have read it, including Yankee executive Ray Negron, who has already shared some very positive words with me for the book. But there's other big news, other big news that is coming your way in regard to books and my writing. The first of the 3 West Point at Gettysburg books is released. The release is imminent. And I would ask you to go to another publisher's page. That would be Sunbury Press, and I should have a link to that. Here it is, right here. If you go to sunburypress.com, you can get the first volume of West Point at Gettysburg, Volume 1, A through G. If it's not released quite yet, it is imminent in release. And that book has also received numerous positive reviews from experts in the field, including none other than Dr. James M. McPherson, probably the biggest, not even probably, recognized as the biggest and greatest Civil War writer of our time right now. And he wrote, Paul Semendinger has produced a unique volume that is a combination reference work, collective biography, and narrative of the Battle of Gettysburg. In all of these capacities, it will be of great value to anyone interested in the American Civil War, especially its biggest and most famous battle. So, high praise, amazing praise from none other than the great Dr. James M. McPherson, author of Battle Cry for Freedom, For Cause and Comrades, a plethora of great Civil War books, and a professor, of course, from Princeton University. So high praise indeed. That has humbled me and at the same time excited me. So check out all of those books. Now, as I've shared with you, this is both of the programs. It's the Dr. Sem Yankee Show, and it is the Start Spreading the News podcast. I plan to be joined up again with EJ with our regular Monday night show in just a couple weeks. The semester is ending and all of that good stuff. But you can check out all of the great Yankee content, of course, at startspreadingthenews.blog. So let's make today a great day. You know, I started saying that when I was a full-time principal, not an interim principal in my retirement. in my schools, and I brought it here as well. It's just, I think, a great way to welcome people. Like, let's make today great. How do you make your day great? Well, it's simple. You look around, you find the good, and you say, you know what? There's so much good that I can't help but be in a good mood. Find the good, bring it into your heart, and appreciate it. Remember, when we give love and when we give respect and when we give kindness and when we give understanding, it comes back to us in greater amounts than we ever gave. I've lived that my whole life. I've tried to be kind. I've tried to be generous with praise and smiles and all of that kind of stuff, and generous with my time. And whatever love I have given has been reciprocated back to me gazillion times more than I ever gave. So let's talk Yankees. And of course, I'm recording this, pre-recording this. So I'm recording this on Wednesday night. So maybe something happened with the Yankees in the meantime, but the winter meetings are over, and it just reminds me of a song that didn't play the way I wanted it to. So there goes that idea. I had a cue set up. It was the Seinfeld theme, and it didn't play. But that's technology when you're recording these things. So, oh well. What's the whole shtick with Seinfeld? It's a show about nothing. And what happened with the Yankees at the winter meetings? It was a show about nothing. Everything I just said just then, here it is. Here's everything big the Yankees did in the winter meetings. That's it. That's what they did. Now, I have been warning people about this. It's been my sense. Now, I don't know. I'm not on the inside with the Yankees. But you can get the sense when you listen to what they're saying, when you see the way the team is shaping up, when you hear the owner talking about payroll and budgets, and you hear the manager, Aaron Boone, hasn't even talked to any free agents. The owner seems reluctant to spend. Brian Cashman, who again, I think was a very good, if not great GM. I think Brian Cashman belongs in Monument Park. I think he did great work for a long time, but I think like in any industry, he has been the Yankee GM for decades. And there comes a time when the industry passes you by. That's just what happens. And he talks a big game every now and again. I think we're pretty set at most positions. That's not talking a big game. But when he does, a number of years ago, he said, we're going to be the, whatever he said about a Death Star. No one is going to beat us. We're going to be the team that gets everybody. I just can't get that Death Star quote in my head on the spur of the moment here. And then he did nothing. And we've seen the story. We've seen the story every year. The Yankees go into the season with visible, obvious flaws. Last year, they didn't have a leadoff hitter. They also didn't have a third baseman. The year before, they also, I don't believe, had a third baseman. And I don't think they had a leadoff hitter. And I think they were a pitcher short. And a couple of years before that, they didn't have any left-handed pitching. And a couple of years before that, they had no left-handed power in the lineup. And every year, they build these teams that are obviously flawed. And again, if the Yankees were the Pittsburgh Pirates or any number of other teams who work on a very limited budget, you'd say that's the best they can do. Okay. But that's not the Yankees. We're talking about the Yankees and the idea that they're supposed to be baseball's biggest power player. I said years ago, and I've been proven correct, as much as people want to right in to start spreading the news and tell me how wrong I am. And I've been wrong plenty times. But I said a number of years ago, the Dodgers have become the Yankees. They go for it every year. They spend because they make tons of money. And the Dodgers did that at the winter meetings. They just got Edwin Diaz. They just got a new closer from the Mets. They signed him. We need a closer. Let's go get one. Let's get the best one out there. So they did. That's the way the Yankees used to operate. So, you just read the tea leaves. The GM seems to feel the team is pretty set. The manager doesn't even go out and call any free agents. The owner always talks about budget. And you say, I don't think. This doesn't feel like a Yankee organization that's going big this winter. And so far, they haven't. Of course, it's only December when I'm recording this, December 10th. You're watching this on either the 12th or the 14th because it airs in both slots, early Saturday morning, and then this will be the show that airs Monday night. Maybe the Yankees go out and make some trades or they make some signings. I sure hope they do. Sometimes people misunderstand some of what I say here. So let me be very clear. I became a Yankee fan as a little boy in 1977. My fandom was cinched that night Reggie hit 3 home runs in the World Series. That night, I became a Yankee fan for life. I already was a Yankee fan. I was a little kid, but that night it was cinched. If you go to my home office, which obviously you can't, but there's a painting of Reggie hitting that 3rd home run. It's not the original painting, but it's a lithograph of a painting of Reggie hitting that 3rd home run. My favorite player was Greg Nettles. I wrote a book with Roy White. But Reggie's home run was probably the greatest moment of my fandom. And ever since then, I've been a Yankee fan. And I love the Yankees. And I want them to be great. They haven't been. And they haven't been great for the entirety of this century, which is now more than a quarter century old. Since 2001, they've won 1 World Series. They're just an ordinary team. And the thing I believe that bothers fans like me that were fans through all of it and through those long years in the 80s and into the mid-90s when they weren't winning championships. And then through the glory days at the beginnings of our fanhood and then, in the Jeter era when they won so many times was the Yankees used to play to win. In every way, they'd get the best. There was a time when the word Cadillac meant the best. People would use that word because it was a high-quality car, probably still is. I don't know a lot about cars, but it's not a word you hear anymore. But, that's the Cadillac of whatever. The name meant greatness. The name meant excellence. In the same way that the Yankee name used to mean that. The Yankees used to be in, they didn't always get, but the Yankees used to be in on every great player. Ricky Henderson's out there, the A's might trade him. The Yankees will go get him. At least they're going to be involved in the conversation. Dave Winfield, we'll get him. Reggie, we'll get him. Catfish, we'll get him. Goose Gossage, we'll get him. On and on. That's the Yankee way. And the disappointment is they went away from that. I used to love the winter because every winter it'd be like Christmas from the Yankees. This year, we're giving you these presents. We got A-Rod. We got Giambi. We got Matsui. We got, some of the names I've said before. Whatever it was, every year, even when they weren't great, this year we got you Jack Clark. You got Jack Clark? I loved Jack Clark. He was only a Yankee for 1 year, but that was so exciting. I remember the back of the Daily News, it said jackpot. There was a sense the Yankees were always in it. They wanted every great player. That's not what's happening anymore. They seem tired. And I think that's what really is bothering a lot of fans. It's what bothers me. If you were a great baseball player, in 1998 or in 2002 or in 2007 or in 1978 or in 1980, and maybe even through the mid 80s, if you were a great base player and the Yankees offered you a big contract, with the Yankees, most often, because that was the place to be. Now, if you're a great baseball player and the Yankees offer you a big contract, are you going to go there? If the Dodgers are also offering a big contract, or if the Red Sox are also offering a big contract, or the Phillies or the Mets, what is it about the Yankees that would make you say, I want to be a Yankee? If I was a great baseball player right now and the Yankees were offering me a big contract and the Dodgers were offering me a big contract, in my heart, I'd want to be a Yankee. In my heart, I live in New Jersey. I'd want to be a Yankee. I'd want to be close to home. But I'd go play for the Dodgers because I would want to play for a team that wants to win, whose sole purpose is to win. And it's clear, it's unequivocal that the Dodgers want to win. Will they win every year? No. If the Yankees went big this winter and they signed Bo Bichette and Kyle Schwarber, and if they had traded for Bryce Harper or signed him Bryce Harper all those years ago, or Manny Machado, which I didn't ever really want him to get Machado, but I wanted Harper, and on, Patrick Corbin, who had one good year in his contract and then wasn't very good. Sometimes we want the Yankees to get guys who don't work out. But if they went for it every year, that wouldn't mean they would win it every year. But as a fan, you'd be excited every year because you would sense that your desire as a fan to win and watch the team win, actually, would be the same desire as the organization that seems to also want to win. And unfortunately, right now, the fans want to win, but you don't get the sense that the team has that same passion. The Yankees, for a long time, have been good enough. Way back in 2017, I started writing that on Start Spreading the News. There's a great book called Good to Great, which talks about how organizations go from good to great. And in the very beginning of the book, it says we don't have great corporations or great schools or great whatevers because we have good schools. Good is the enemy of great. You can't be great if you're happy being good. And the Yankees are very happy being good. In no other era would you ever hear Yankee management talk about how we've had a 500 record or better for so long, because that wasn't the mark. Nobody cares. There's no pennants hanging over a stadium that says 23 years or 37 years of 500 or better, because nobody cares. Fans of teams like the Yankees, fans of teams like the Dallas Cowboys, who also don't win anymore, and I've never been a Cowboy fan, or fans of teams like the Boston Celtics or the Los Angeles Lakers, teams that have a long, rich history of championships, want championships. You become fans of those teams because they win. and they have the desire to win. That's the Dodgers. That's no longer the Yankees. Could you imagine a period any other time when there was a free agent out there and the Yankee manager actually admitted, yeah, no, I haven't talked to any of them. Nah, they know who we are. They know where we are. I don't need to call them. Reggie got bigger offers than the Yankees way back in 1977 or late 1976 when he was signing. Reggie got better offers from other teams. But he said George Steinbrenner out-hustled everyone. And that's what made me want to be a Yankee. Because that's what wins the day. I remember being a college kid. Yeah, it was a summer in college, and I always needed a summer job. And I went to an auto place because they were advertising a need for a driver. Now, I know nothing about cars, but I know how to drive. And I liked jobs where I could just load up a van and drive places. And I said, that would be a great job for me. So I applied. I went in. I met with the people. I interviewed. And they said, we have a couple other candidates. I don't know if we want to just hire somebody for the summer. We'd rather somebody for a longer period. We'll let you know. And I said, when will you let me know? And they said, probably by Friday. On Friday, I called them. And I said, did you make a decision? They said, no, we haven't. We'll probably make a decision by Monday. Well, every day that I wasn't working was a day I wasn't earning money, and I needed to work and make money over the summers while I was in college. So what did I do? On Monday, I called them again. And I said, hi, yeah, it's Paul again. Want to be your driver. Did you make a decision? And the manager said, you keep calling about this. You got the job. I love your spirit. I love your enthusiasm. That's what wins the day. If you were a great free agent and the manager couldn't be bothered calling you, and another team is like, yeah, we really want you, where are you going to play? The way we become successful is to go for it, to give it our best. And again, you can have all the players in the world. The Yankees could sign Kyle Schwarber. They could have had Justin Verlander. They could have Cy Young, Babe Ruth, Ty Cobb, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron. You name them. They could have everybody. Sandy Koufax. They could have Rogers Hornsby. I loved it with the Hall of Fame the other day, and they said the greatest hitting second baseman of all time, Jeff Kent, just got in the Hall of Fame. People were saying that. The greatest hitting second baseman of all time, Jeff Kent? You never heard of Rogers Hornsby, who over a 3-year period in the 1920s averaged 400. His average for 3 seasons was 400. It was above 400, but you get the idea. And you think Jeff Kent's a better hitter than Rogers Hornsby? And what about Joe Morgan? I mean, come on. It's just silly. But the way to become excellent is to go for it. And the Yankees could have all those greats in their prime, and they would not win the World Series every year. The Dodgers, I keep going for it. They're not going to win the World Series every year. And that's okay. No Yankee fan thinks that the Yankees are going to win the World Series every year. We just want to have the sense that the Yankees are going to try. That's what we're wanting. We want to see that the owner and the general manager and the manager and everybody associated with the team cares as much as we do about winning. Now, might the Yankees be good next year? Yeah, they're pretty good. They're not great. And in order for the Yankees to be great, a lot of things have to happen. Austin Wells has to become a major league hitter. He hasn't been yet. The excuses have been, well, he's banged up. All right, he's been banged up every year. And he can't get over that because every catcher is banged up. That's part of being a catcher. Okay, well, he's going to have to figure it out. Ben Rice is going to have to stay on this trajectory. I think he will. I think he's established himself as a major league hitter who's really good. Jazz Chisholm's going to have to stay at an elite level or just below elite level. He's coming off his best season ever. Anthony Volpe is going to have to prove he can play every day as a shortstop at a major league level, offensively and defensively. He's never done that. He's never done both. He's done it for short periods of time, but he's never done both at the same time for a season. For his career, he is a below average hitter by a long shot. I think his OPS plus is in the 80s for his career. This is his fourth season. He's not a rookie. He's not a sophomore. And he's got to do that while coming back from an injury that they're now saying is what derailed his year last year. For the Yankees to be great, Ryan McMahon's going to have to, for the first time in his life, hit because he's a sub 100 OPS plus guy. Or if he is at 100, I don't think he is, but if he is, imagine he's barely at 100 and he played most of his career in Colorado. Now, I know they're all normalized for stadiums and things like that, but he's not a major league hitter. For the Yankees to compete, Trent Grisham's going to have to repeat what was by far a career year. Aaron Judge is going to have to stay at an elite level. But I'm not saying a very, very good elite. I'm saying like superstar, Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron level elite, Barry Bonds level elite. Jason Dominguez is going to have to come back and actually have a big, great major league season. They're going to have to bring back Cody Bellinger. And I just don't know if Cody Bellinger's a guy who moves the needle from pretty good to great, because they had him last year and they were pretty good, but they also went through months where they couldn't win a game. Giancarlo Stanton's going to have to defy time and coming off his best year in many years, do that again. It just seems like the Yankees are asking too much. They don't have a bullpen outside of like David Bednar. The other guys are just middling guys. You know, Ryan Yarbrough, Tim Hill. They're nice pitchers. You don't see those guys and go like, that's a killer bullpen. That's not Gossage and Sparky Lyle. That's not Mariano Rivera and Ramiro Mendoza and Jeff Nelson, Mike Stanton. It's good guys. Yeah, they're good. But again, good is the enemy of great. And the starting pitching, you're going to have to hope that Garrett Cole comes back at 36 years old and is a dominant pitcher. You're going to have to hope that Max Fried stays where he is at that elite level. You're going to have to hope that Carlos Rodon comes back from an injury. You're going to have to hope that Clark Schmidt can come back from an injury. You're going to have to hope that Cam Schlittler is for real. And you're going to have to hope that either Luis Heel and or Will Warren continue to grow and can get major league batters out at a regular rate. All those things could happen. All of those things could happen. The Yankees could go out and everything could fall into place because that's what sometimes happens. That's what I'm hoping happens. What I'm not hoping for is for the Yankees to do what they've done all these last many years and end up with 90 wins, 92 wins, 89 wins, 94 wins. They go through periods, months or weeks on end where they can't win. Then they get hot at the end and win a whole bunch of games, and they sneak into the playoffs. They play some really bad teams who also snuck into the playoffs and win a round or two. And because if that happens, we're going to see the same thing again in 2027. Hopefully there's no lockout. Speaking of a lockout, if baseball locks out the players, when you have a multi-billion-dollar industry, I think you just have to step back and go, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry. We're making tons and tons of money. It would be pretty stupid to stop because we want even more, because we're even greedier. You're making tons of money, baseball, at every level. Don't stop the game because fans aren't going to come back. And I know owners say, oh, they always come back. It took them a while last time. And That was in the 90s. That was 94. There's a lot more to distract people now. I think they're doing themselves a huge disservice already by putting so many games on streaming and weird things. And this one's on Amazon, that one's on Apple, this one's on this thing, Peacock or whatever. You can't even find the games. And if you're a fan and you're not buying all these different apps and whatever streaming services, you miss games. Opening day next year isn't going to be available to every fan. I think it's, I don't remember which one. I think it's an Amazon Prime exclusive, but it might be Apple Plus. I don't know. I don't get any of them. My feeling is if the Yankees take the game away from me, I'm not going to search all over and try to find it. I'm not paying for it. I already gave the Yankees over the course of my lifetime gazillions of dollars. I'm not paying more just to watch a random game. Unless the Yankees promise me they're going to win, which obviously they can't, or unless they put out a team that says this is can't miss baseball. You know, if they had Bryce Harper and Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge and they had built that team up, that would have been can't miss baseball. I might have paid, they didn't have it back then, but I might have paid for every streaming service to see that kind of team. But I'm not going to pay to watch Ryan McMahon and hope that Anthony Volpe can hit Major League pitching, and hope that Jason Dominguez is really good. We were promised he would be. I'm not going to pay that kind of money to watch rookie Spencer Jones, who strikes out 30 or 40% of the time in the minor leagues, trying to hit Major League pitching. People are saying, well, he'll hit better when he gets in the major leagues. Does that make any sense? I mean, maybe. Not to me, it doesn't. Seems to me if you go up to the highest league and you're already striking out a ton in the lower leagues, you're not going to strike out less. I don't see how you can tolerate a guy striking out a third of the time already. He's going to strike out more. So, like, maybe Spencer Jones proves me wrong. And again, I hope all of these things happen. But I hope the Yankees don't have like a 93-win season, sneak into the playoffs, and then they put this on recycle again, and we have another off season. Low enthusiasm, low energy. Maybe we'll be in on that guy. I don't know. You gonna call him? Nah. He knows where we are. We're the Yankees. Because if this continues, it's gonna just continue forever. It's never going to end. We're pretty good. We almost made the playoffs. We made the World Series. We got crushed in the World Series a couple years ago. You know, anything can happen in the postseason. The postseason's a crapshoot. That's just not fun. I mean, I'm going to watch as much as I can. I want them to win. But my real hope is if they're not going to win, let's hope they don't win spectacularly. As a Yankee fan, let's hope they win 79 games. They can stop that, well, we've been over 500 for 37 decades in a row. Who cares? I want to see championships. Let's have them have a sub-500 season. Let's see the bottom fall out so that they can't say, you know, well, we were in it. For as bad as we played for so long, we were still in it. We made the playoffs. We were a better than 500 team, because then they're just going to go out with the same tired formula that will get them to be a better than 500 team that'll sneak into the playoffs most years as they waste the prime of Aaron Judge, as they already wasted the prime of Garrett Cole. And we'll just have the same thing year after year. What needs to happen is if they're not going to be great, to be bad. Who wants that? Nobody. But maybe that's like my only hope, that if they're that bad, they go, you know what? Maybe Aaron Boone's not a great manager. Huh. How about that? Who would have thunk it? Maybe the game has passed Brian Cashman by. And maybe Hal Steinbrenner has to pay bigger bucks. It's not saying he doesn't spend a lot of money. He spends it poorly. He's let his GM make a lot of bad choices. But you have to spend bigger. And maybe he goes, you know what? I got to make this team a champion again. I've got to go all in, which is something they haven't done. So Sad I couldn't get the Seinfeld thing to go. But that's what happens with cell phones. They're on and then they go to sleep mode, and then you try to get them on, and then you're trying to do a podcast and play with the phone at the same time. That's a lot of technology for an old man. All right, my friends. Let's hope that by the time you're watching this, the Yankees made a couple out-of-the-box moves, and Ninja Cashman came back again, and there's all sorts of excitement. I hope so. Or let's hope that even if nothing happens, that some big signings and trades happen, and the Yankees make some great moves, and you say, oh my goodness, it is exciting again in the Bronx. I would love to be excited again. Is it possible? It's possible. Is it likely? I don't think so. Anyway, my dear friends, let me remind you, this show is brought to you by Artemisia Publishing, a great, great, great publisher. My book, West Point at Gettysburg, is available from Sunbury Press. From Artemisia, of course, is my book coming out in February, The Greatest Yankees by Uniform Number. You don't want to miss either of those books. All great stuff. I encourage you to go to Start Spreading the News. We put out articles every single day. There's nobody who does it better, and we never charge anybody to read our site. Nothing is behind a paywall. You get it all for free. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. I hope you have the same passion for the Yankees that I do. All of the criticism comes from love, because I love this team and I want to watch them win. I want to watch them win always, not just one year. Build the teams like they used to, and they can always be the best contender. They won't always win it, but they'll always be the team that everybody thinks could win it all. And they'll always be the team that people want to play for, because you know that their one mission, their only mission, is to win, like the Dodgers of today. Have a great day. Thank you for watching, and I will see you here again real soon. If I don't see you before Christmas and Hanukkah, have yourselves happy, happy, happy holidays. And if I don't see you before the new year, Happy New Year. Be smart. Make smart decisions. Have a great day. Be safe. Let's go, Yankees.